This lesson is part of our 5th grade Social Studies unit, A New Nation. We will be learning about the origins of our government and how the system of government we have today began. After watching the slide presentation, you will take a quiz over what you learn. There are 3 learning goals for this lesson. The first is to be able to identify the Articles of Confederation as the first plan of government for the new nation. The second learning goal is to give examples of problems the country faced under the Articles of Confederation. Another goal is to identify the basic ideas the framers of the Constitution agreed were needed for our government. The colonies in North America had been ruled by the King of England. However, the colonists, or people living in the colonies, had grown unhappy being under Britain's rule. In 1776, a group of colonial leaders met and wrote the Declaration of Independence. This document stated that the colonists no longer would be under Britain's rule. The king did not want to just give up the colonies. This led to a war between the colonists and the British called the American Revolution. After several years of fighting, the colonists defeated the British. Instead of being colonies ruled by the British king, they were now a new country that needed its own government. The first government established by the leaders of the new nation was a loose confederation of the states. The Continental Congress did not want the new nation to have the types of problems they had experienced under Britain's rule, so they made sure that Congress's power was very limited. The government of the government of each of the 13 states would have most of the power over their state. The states' powers were very strong, and Congress's powers were very weak. Because most of the power was given to the states, major weaknesses soon developed under the Articles of Confederation. Each state wanted to promote its own best interests, which led to disagreements between the states. There was no national court system to make decisions. There also was no chief executive to enforce the laws. Also, because the nation could not collect taxes from individuals, it was going bankrupt, meaning it could not pay its debts. Another problem was there was no national currency. Each state printed its own money, but other states did not have to accept it. In May of 1787, 55 delegates met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for the purpose of changing and improving the Articles of Confederation. When they began to discuss the issues, they decided a whole new plan was needed. When creating the new plan, there were some basic ideas the framers agreed upon. One of these basic ideas was that the government should have limited powers. Another was that the purpose of government should be to promote the common good. They also agreed that a stronger national government was needed, although state governments were still important. Finally, they agreed that a separation of powers and a system of checks and balances were needed so that power would not be abused. Let's check our learning target. Is each statement true or false? Number 1. The first plan of government for the new nation was the Declaration of Independence. This is false. The Declaration of Independence was the start of the fight for independence. The Articles of Confederation was the first plan to govern the new nation. Number 2. Every state printed its own money under the Articles of Confederation. This is true and was one of the problems that the country faced. Number 3. The Articles of Confederation created a national court system to solve problems between states. This is false. One problem under the Articles of Confederation is that there was not a national court system to settle disputes between states. Number 4. The framers of the Constitution agreed that the government should have unlimited power. This is false. The framers agreed it was important that the government's powers should be limited. Number 5. The framers of the Constitution agreed that a stronger national government was needed. This is true. If you need to review this information before taking the quiz, press the arrow to replay. If you are ready for the quiz, select Next.